Good evening. Welcome to the latest live edition of Last Ball Boxing. I've got a few people to get round this evening, so we'll start with the worst. Ander, how you going, Ander?
Oh, yeah. Cheers, mate.
No problem. Keep it short and sweet. Then moving on to Akan. Good evening, Akan.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining the show. Darren.
Thanks so much.
No problem. Darren, thank you for coming back, fella.
No problem.
And then regular. Say again.
Best for last, eh?
Well, yeah, and Daz.
You walked into that one, didn't you? Leaving me there. You know you walked into that.
Hey, Daz, I've had some I'm on the caffeine tonight, lad, so I'm on it. So, busy show tonight, guys. Obviously, a lot's happened last weekend with the Callum Smith show, and we're going to have a look forward to the Jonas Mayer fight. We're going to cover AJ versus Ngannou. Quick shout out, that was at the press conference on Monday, but, I'm not going to go on about that. And then we're going to finish off by talking Matchroom versus Queensbury 5 versus 5. So let's jump straight into the first topic. Andy, I'll hand it over to you like I always do. Let's talk all things Callum Smith.
Yeah, well, I'm sure everybody's seen the fight. If they didn't see it live, I'm sure they've watched it back now. Props to Daz. He's about the only person that got his prediction right. I was very surprised at how good Beterbiev was. I'll be honest. We'll jump straight into it. Hakan, break down how you thought the fight went. I mean, quite surprising to a lot of us that Callum didn't really get into the fight, did they?
Yeah, I agree. But I thought that Callum Smith could do something in this fight, but
yeah,
did he win a single round?
I thought he won the second. I thought he started in the second really well, and his variation of shots was good, but he didn't build from that, in my opinion. Darren, I'll come to you now, mate. So, was it that Callum Smith was just started too slow and then didn't get in the groove, or was it that Beterbiev was just better on the night?
Well, Beterbiev was obviously a lot better on the night. For me, my biggest fear before the fight was that Callum Smith was going to go into his shell a little bit like he did against Canelo. I actually thought he gave it a bit more of a go than what he did against Canelo. But I still think once he had the pressure of Beterbiev on him, I just thought he couldn't handle it, and he was totally outclassed in the end. But I definitely agree with you. I gave Callum Smith round 2. And like you say, I thought after that, perhaps he's going to build on this, but he didn't. He didn't build on it, and I think he was just totally outclassed. But like I say, I do think he gave it a bit more of a go than the Canelo fight. I do think he tried to put a dent in Beterbiev. I don't think he was sort of negative. He was just outclassed.
Darren,
Carl,
what did you think? What did you think of the Smith brothers coming out afterwards and saying that the drug test played a part and this, that, and the other? The testing before and the positive test. It wasn't a test.
Yeah. I get why they're doing it, but I feel like they are sort of, even though they're saying, we're taking nothing away from the winner, I think they are really with what they're doing. They're saying about, I saw something today, I think it was Liam Smith said, he's got more testosterone than the 4 of us put together for a 39-year-old man.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah.
But, he hasn't failed a test. The rules are the rules. He hasn't failed a test. The fight wasn't postponed. He hasn't failed a drugs test. So what more can you do?
Do you think it did him mentally a little bit though, Daz? That's where I'm coming from.
Possibly. But I did like the way Callum Smith himself didn't come out after the fight and say anything about that as such. Because I did think after the fight, he's going to say, that could have drove him apart, like with the way, with that come out. But he didn't mention anything. But then it's Liam and that all coming out after and saying it, which probably
Callum's too classy, and he's not going to take anything away from Beterbiev on the night.
Yeah, I agree.
guys, the way I look at that and what's come out is that's just his brothers looking after him. I don't see it as sour grapes like everyone's making it out to be. Daz, what's your opinion on that?
Did he? Is it what he tested for, or what was found? It was produced naturally in the body, isn't it? So I think
there's testosterone levels that are natural in the human body, and he was way outside that. Like what I'm talking.
But he's not.
The number they grade it on, he was probably 10 outside that for somebody in their mid-20s.
So why? So I'm struggling to get it. To be fair, has he? So have they found anything that's boosted that then?
Right. What they're saying is you can be outside it as an elite athlete. Like, for example, if you're a powerlifter, you're nearly always going to be outside that normal range.
So basically, he's done nothing wrong then.
His is a long way outside it. So they don't, but because they don't know, they can't. There was nothing in his system that said he boosted it. He might naturally be that, have that much testosterone. Nobody knows because nobody bothers to test for the level. Unlike with WADA don't test for it before. WADA test their testosterone levels at random points. VADA just do a one-off one. So if it was a WADA test, then we'd know whether he boosted or not. But we don't really know. And to be honest, I'm just going to assume he hasn't.
Jack, let me just bring Sean in. Hi, Sean. Welcome back to the show, fella.
Hey, guys.
My time zone's a bit all over the shop. So what is it to you at the minute? Is it very early in the morning or what?
Yeah, just after 6 a.m.
Okay, so firstly, thank you for joining a ridiculous hour in the morning. Much appreciated.
Get a beer and it will wake you up.
I think it's only right that we get your take on Callum Smith, Sean. So what were your thoughts?
I was a bit disappointed, to be honest with you. I mean, the good thing about being over here now is the American shows are a much better time for me. So it was about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But in terms of his performance, I guess Better BF didn't let him perform. You can look at it like that. But I was just surprised he wasn't as aggressive as I thought he would be. He seemed a bit, not gun shy, but he didn't seem to commit to his catching and countering and what he's generally good at. So, yeah, it was definitely a below performance, and I expected him to fare much better, to be honest.
Yeah. And then
Sean,
sorry, Andy, go on.
Sean, I think he tried to catch and counter, but he just couldn't. He couldn't time the shots. But my opinion is this: that Better BF started very quickly, got into his groove very quickly, and didn't allow Callum to get into his. That catch and counter style of Callum's works really, really well against that type of fighter. If that type of fighter give you the opportunity to throw that shot, and Better BF didn't.
I've watched
that. To me, that was the difference.
I've watched it back a couple of times, and more than ever, I think he felt that power, and it discouraged him.
Yeah,
honestly, I don't think he's ever felt power like that.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
I think he's just thought, "What the fuck?" My French.
Dad, let me bring Imran in. Imran, how you doing, fella? Thanks for joining. Obviously, you tipped Better BF when we spoke on social media. So give us your breakdown, Imran.
Yeah, so I was a little bit disappointed, like Sean said as well. I thought the performance, to be honest, like I think you guys know my opinion about Callum Smith. So I think his performance was pathetic, to be honest with you. I'm just going to be brutally honest. I don't think there was much of a performance apart from toughness, which, I mean, we know he's tough and he can take a punch. But apart from that, there wasn't much. I mean, Darren's prediction was spot on that Buddy McGirt would stop the fight, and he did. I think he was right. I think he probably could have stopped it a round before. I think the fight was over in the first round, to be honest. As soon as Beterbiev stuck it on him, I think he realized right away that this guy's got I don't think he's got much to trouble me with. And he just literally, the problem is with Callum Smith, I think he's good against a certain type of opponent, a bit like a flat track bully, really. But then when he steps up to that next level, I don't know whether he mentally checks out or because to be honest, you can't like. I looked at the Canelo performance and I thought Canelo was a really bad performance, right? But you guys said he was drained, so I kind of accepted that. Okay, we'll give him an excuse because to be honest, Callum Smith's sample size is not big. He hasn't really been in the ring with a lot of great fighters. If you look at his resume, it's really limited. He hasn't fought a lot of top-tier opposition, right? His best win, as Carl Froch was putting on TalkSport, is a shot-worn George Groves. So there's not a lot to really... I mean, in terms of what he's been tested by. So I don't really understand where all the hype was that he was going to go in and beat Beterbiev, because Beterbiev is somebody that's a stellar amateur, 300 amateur fights, 5 losses, 295 wins. As a pro, he's a natural light heavyweight, not a blown-up super middle. And I just think it was. I just think he was out of his depth. I don't think he was. I don't think it was a case of. I just think he was out of his depth. I think that was always going to happen. Because I think
he felt his power, Imran. I think he felt the power, and he was discouraged.
But he knew that though. He knew that because Beterbiev knocked everybody down.
Knowing it, and then knowing that Beterbiev's a puncher, and then actually feeling it and realizing how much of a puncher he is two different things.
That's the thing that surprised me. I've never seen it happen to Callum Smith before. Was Beterbiev walked him down from round 1, right? He felt what he had, and he had no respect for his power, did he? For Callum, and he just walked him down.
I don't think Callum was able to commit to shots, and I think he got discouraged by that power of Beterbiev, and I think he thought, listen, subconsciously, he probably thought, listen, if I stand around here and get caught with one of them clean, could be lights out. Do you know what impressed me, lads, as well? About Beterbiev, when he trapped Callum on the ropes and he threw them short foot flurries, his accuracy level in them short shots, and they were hurtful shots.
He doesn't waste a sit.
They were
Sorry, Daz.
No, it's all right, mate. They were traveling like 6 to 8 inches, and everyone you could see that landed were hurting Callum.
He didn't waste a single thing, did he?
No, he was very good at that. Trapping him and throwing them flurries, and I tell you, for me, he had quite a nice success rate, and I was very impressed with that.
I think
probably 75-80% of them landed.
I think that's Callum Smith done. Personally, I think he'll retire because I don't.
I don't think he will.
You talk.
He earned a lot of money in that Super Series. As he got the motivation, he turned around and said, "It's very hard to accept that I'm not the best at this weight class." So,
well. The thing is, he's fighting arguably the best in the division, apart from Bivol. We're going to find out about that, aren't we? In the coming months. I mean, it's no disgrace to get beat against somebody like that. It doesn't mean he's a shot fighter. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean he's finished.
He's got to have motivation, though.
Yeah, of course. There's still big fights for him, though.
Domestic wise, yeah, definitely. Like
yards a massive fight.
It's whether he can get up for him, isn't it? You don't need the money, so it's whether he can get up for him. I saw a lot in that post-match interview. He's told me. I know he's quite raw afterwards, but
he's gutted, wasn't he, mate? He was devastated.
He's earned a few quid though, and it's very difficult to get the motivation.
I bet if those same questions were asked now, you'd get a completely different response from him than you got on the night. He was devastated, but you could see as soon as it was waved off, you could see he went down on his knees. He was gutted. He was devastated.
The part that I can see happening, I know we're going to come on to it, is if the Saudis pay for Yard versus Callum Smith in the Matchroom Queensbury, maybe.
Yeah.
But he ain't hanging around much more. I can assure you that.
I think at the very least he'll have a homecoming fight. I can't see him retiring off his States. I have no idea who he's going to like. They'll just get somebody so that he can fight in Liverpool before his retirement. I can't see him retiring off fighting anywhere else but Liverpool because of.
Let's be a bit fair to him though. let's be a bit fair. He's lost to 2 at best in world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
I'm not saying I think he
It's
should
hardly,
do that.
you know, I think once he's had a bit of a, you know, a little bit of a think and a little bit of a reflection, I don't think he's done. I think he's still got, you know, a bit to offer. Listen, he could take part in some good fights, domestic fights, yeah, but they'll probably get doubled up as eliminators, won't they? You know, it's not going to be for British titles and English titles. They're probably going to get.
It's a gut feeling I've got, Daz, and it's not like a right fight. I don't write fighters off a lot because I was arguing that Billy Joe would come back when no one else thought he would.
Yeah, I can see why you think it, mate, because he were, you know, a proper deflated. But I think on reflection, he'll probably, you know, I think he'll be disappointed in the two fights he's had against the 2 elite fighters. He's not done himself justice.
He just might look around and think, I don't need this anymore.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
How old is he?
What I can see Matchroom doing is putting him in with a Craig Richards, but before he fights Yard as a sort of warm-up fight, say in 3 or 4 months.
Not a bad shot.
I mean, thing is, let's not judge him at all. If he fights Yard and he fights winner of Boatsi and Aziz, let's say, and that, let's not say, oh yeah, they do him on just because. I mean, Yard arguably put up a better performance.
I can see his.
Let's not write him off against them. Do you know what I mean? Because he's
situation where his comeback fight ends up being Lyndon Arthur just because both of them have just lost to Bivol, the other one's just lost to
possibly, but
I can see that being his comeback fight. Do it
possibly.
I mean, you can argue, guys. You can argue that's the best Beterbiev we've seen for a long while.
Yeah,
he had motivation in this fight against Callum Smith. He wasn't happy with the way the Smith brothers were calling him out over the testing situation. He had motivation. He had real motivation for this fight.
Yeah.
He didn't look that good against Anthony Yard. He looked flat against Yard. He certainly didn't look flat at the weekend. You're looking at 2 different fighters there for me.
Yeah, styles make fights as well. Maybe Yard was a bit of a different style of opponent for Beterbiev that, you know, I'm not saying he struggled, but, you know, Callum Smith's like you say, is a totally different fighter to Anthony Yard. Would I write Callum Smith against Anthony Yard like people are now? No way would I. I think Callum Smith could beat Anthony Yard.
But that's his, sorry, what I was gonna say is that's the level he should be fighting at. I mean, that's the Yard's a tough fight. It's not an easy fight for him. That's the level I think that he's at. I don't think he matches well against Beterbiev and Bivol. So it's all right losing to Beterbiev because you can say, well, he's the best. But losing to Anthony Yard for your legacy is devastating. So this is the point, and that's why I agree with Carl that he's not going to take that risk. He's not going to take that risk because his brothers have said that he doesn't need the money. So if he doesn't need the money, what's his motivation? Because in his head, he's above Yard. In his head, because he's won a world title at super middleweight and he feels he's above Yard. So if he loses to Yard, legacy-wise, with the way he performed against Ryder, then obviously the Canelo Beterbiev, and he goes and gets beat by Yard, I mean, effectively his legacy's in tatters at that point. So there's a lot to lose.
Let's be fair though, Imran. When we're talking legacy, right?
Yeah.
We're talking, you know, these different levels of legacy, isn't there? Callum Smith's going to go down as a world champion. Nothing he does since he won that title is going to change that. You know, he's probably not going to be mentioned as one of Britain's best light heavyweights or Britain's best super middleweights. That's always going to be the super middleweights is always going to be Calzaghe, Eubank, Ben. Light heavyweights, you know, John Conte, Dennis Andrews. So he's never going to be in that sort of bracket. So legacy, I always think, well, he's already probably got the legacy he's going to get known for, which is a world champion.
Darren, where the thing is though, Callum Smith, like when I first saw him, I thought he should be mentioned amongst those names, and I think he's like, I don't know, maybe he just wasn't good enough. But what I'm saying is, I think when I first saw him against Fielding and people like that early on in his career, I thought this guy could be Britain's best. Let alone just super middleweight. He could be Britain's best because he looked the part. He's big, tall, strong, but
there's a very good saying that an old trainer once told me. It's not about where you start; it's about where you finish.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned Rocky on that, but there was a point I remember until the build up to the Smith fight that people thought Rocky was going to be this big thing. And yes, he didn't have a bad career, and I don't think anyone who ends up fighting Canelo for a world title can say they had a bad career. But he didn't do what everyone. I remember there almost being as much hype around him as there was around Smith.
He was too chinny, Rocky Fielding.
I'm not sure there's the same hype around Rocky Fielding that there was Callum Smith with all due respect.
No, there wasn't.
I remember that there was a real debate that Fielding would beat Smith at the time.
Nah, I remember.
I never thought that, Jack.
Favourite, from what I remember.
I don't know what you reading, Jack, but don't invite me.
Honestly, I know a lot of people who thought Fielding would beat Smith at the time when they fought.
Interesting. I don't know about that, Jack. I don't remember hearing too many people saying that.
No.
I remember.
Let's move on to the next topic then, lads. That was a good 25 minutes on that, so we'll move on. So I'll let Andy take this one again. So big fight at the weekend. Obviously, Akan's coming over for this fight, right, Akan?
Yes.
Yeah,
flying over on fight day.
Seeing as you're coming over, then we'll let you break it down first and give your opinion. And okay, on to you, Akan.
For me, it's going to be a very close 50-50 fight, and Michaela Mayer looks huge now in that, even in that weight class. Even though she had high heels on the presser today, and it looks more huge for that then. But I think it's gonna be very close, and the later rounds gonna settle the fight. And for Mayer, I think she need to win rounds pretty clear to get the judges on away soil.
Are you suggesting that we're corrupting the industry?
Pardon?
I said, are you suggesting that we're corrupting the UK?
You might see Nicola there as well, Akan.
Nick going.
Okay.
Yeah, you might see Nicola
so Nicola will be there.
Yeah, she's going with Ebony.
Would be nice
Bridges.
to meet her again.
Yeah, she's going with Ebony Bridges.
Okay.
I tell you what, Dad, you must be on commission because there's never a show goes by where you don't get Nicola name in the conversation.
Let me
what,
stop
you're on 25%?
Hang on. Is that pot calling kettle grimy ass or what?
No. Say again.
Is that pot calling kettle grimy ass or what?
Why?
Do I have to say his name again?
I don't know, but you're about the guy that I met on Monday in London at the AJ Presser.
Name drop.
What's your thought? That is, what's your thought? That is a rematch clause
on the AJ.
On the Jonas. You're talking about the Jonas Mayer fight. Okay.
Yes, that it's a rematch clause.
Yeah, it's a world title fight, Hakan. That's just standard now for promoters. It's just standard when a world title fight's on that it's a rematch clause.
So who's winning, Hakan? Because you didn't, you got splinters. So who's winning?
Okay, I have said before, and I stick with it, that it's a very close decision for Tasha.
Interesting. So I'll come to Darren next.
So that's my prediction.
Darren, thank you. As in the important Darren Ashworth. Darren, break it down for us, fella. Give us your opinion and your predictions.
Me, yeah?
Yep.
Yes, mate.
Yeah. Like Hakan, to be honest, I would probably say very close fight. I think Maya did beat Baumgardner, and I think that's an impressive. Well, obviously she never got the decision, but it's an impressive performance she done. I'm very on the fence with it, but I would probably go because of like what Hakan says, being in the UK. I think if it's close, I think Tasha will get the nod very, very closely. But it could be a controversial one.
Right. Okay. So you think Jonas
split decision
by robbery?
Decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming on to Imran. Imran, same again, fella.
I'm kind of torn on this one because Mayer did well against Baumgardner, but Jonas is on a bit of a roll, so I'm gonna go. I like Jonas, so I'm gonna go for Jonas just because I think it could be anywhere. I think it could be a split decision. They're both really good, but just because Jonas is on a roll and I like her attitude, and I like what she stands for, I'm gonna say she wins by split decision.
Popular decision. Darren, Daz.
I'm gonna say Tasha by comfortable decision. To be fair. And I think, Darren, are you the one who I had a conversation with other day on Twitter about this?
I had many conversations, jog my memory. I think I did, yes.
Yeah. We had same conversation, I think. I just think Tasha's going to win fairly comfortable. I don't think Mayer's got any right to be a welterweight. Yeah, she got ripped off against Baumgardner, 1,000,000%. I gave her that fight. I mean, I think I said in our conversation, Darren, I think I said she should have got the nod. I mean, that were doing her a little bit of a disservice. I thought she won it clearly, to be fair.
Yeah.
3 or 4 rounds, I think I thought. Then, as the norm seems, after a loss, she moved up. But then I saw her fight at light welter, and I thought she looked terrible. She looked fleshy. She didn't look in shape. She looked very slow and sluggish. Her feet was very slow. Her hands were very slow. So then moving up to welterweight, when you're slow and sluggish, at that weight and look a bit fleshy, to then move up rings alarm bells for me. Is it a case that I'll move up because the money fight's there? I've got a name. The money fight's there. I don't know, mate. I just don't think she's got any place to be a welterweight. I know she looked really big, side to side, but I think Tasha's, and I'm not saying Tasha's a natural welterweight, to be fair, but I think Tasha's a naturally bigger girl. And I can point it out, probably partly to do with having heels on as well. But I just think Tasha, belongs at that weight, and I think, a good big one always beats a good little one. So I think Tasha will win it comfortable.
Sorry,
mate. For me, I virtually agree word for word with Daz. Natasha Jonas has been at this weight a while, and she carries it really well. She's carried her power to the weight, and she still looks very sharp. She's still quick. She still looks very sharp. I completely agree with what Daz has said about Mayer moving up the weights and looking sluggish. She looked dreadful in her last fight. And that's the weight below. So how's she going to carry this extra weight? She's never been a big puncher anyway. No. So she isn't going to deter Jonas, in my opinion. I think Jonas will feel what she's got, and I think she'll get encouraged by that and put it on her a little bit. I don't expect it to stop her. And don't get me wrong, Mayer's a quality fighter. There'll be close rounds in there, but I see Jonas coming away with a good 3 or 4 round victory on points.
Okay, Sean.
Yeah, I think a bit different, actually. I think if May has sort of settled at this weight now, she's had quite a bit of time to adjust to it. I can actually see her outboxing Jonas fairly comfortably, to be honest. I mean, if she brings all her skill sets up that she did from the lower weights, and as I say, if she's adjusted to this new weight, I actually think she'll outbox her and could win quite wide on point.
I think Jack's dog agrees with you.
Yeah, my dog's going mental. I'm just trying to find a way to mute.
Well then, Jack, give us your breakdown if we can hear you over your dog.
Right, I'm Teddy. Stop being in it. Hang on, Ted. Enough.
That worked.
He really isn't.
Yeah.
Gonna agree with me.
Isn't it?
He really isn't going to agree with me tonight. I'm going to completely buck the trend and have Mayo win it. There's just some. I don't know what it is. There's just something in the back of my mind that thinks she's going to win this.
Can I just ask you, Jack? What in recent fights when since she's moved up? What gives you the impression that Maya brings anything that wins the fight?
I don't know what it is, but the way she seemed to, the way that last fight was all done, it just all seemed a bit rushed to me. And I think now she's had time to sort of grow herself a bit and settle and look more natural. It looks like she's fighting at the weight she walks around at. And the only time I've ever seen a female fighter do that, they ended up winning. So winning and putting in best performances. So that's what just makes me think that might be a thing. I'm also going to make a horrible prediction that I hope I'm wrong on. I think this might, if she does lose, I don't think we'll get the rematch because I think this might end up being Tasha's last fight.
Oh, there's some retirement predictions.
And I have my reasons for thinking that.
Go on then.
Are you gonna share them with us, Jack?
Yeah, it's just because she doesn't have anything else to prove. Like this is a big fight for her, but she doesn't have anything else to prove. She's been a world champion at 2 weights now. If she loses this, yeah, she could take the rematch, but she's not going to gain anything from it other than money.
Doesn't she have money to make though?
But at this point, she won't need money.
Do you reckon? She's?
Yeah. She's made.
She's still got a few more quid to make yet.
Jack, do you honestly think that if let's say she loses this fight by, Sean thinks that she's going to lose it wide. Let's say that happens. Do you honestly think that Tasha, being the person Tasha is not going to, for that to happen? Do you think that because of how good Tasha is, and listen, Maya's skilled, good. So do you not think that for Tasha to lose wide, like every round near enough, she'd have to underperform? So do you not think that Tasha would go away and want to rectify that, being the person she is?
And Joe Gallagher.
Yeah.
Remember,
even if she lost on a split, do you not think she'd want to, rectify it in some way?
In a way, but I just think that she's not young now, and I just think that this could be it. But if she, I hope I'm wrong, but there's just something and stuff she said in recent interviews that makes me think that.
I'll give my opinion for what it's worth. I think this Jonas is going to stop her around round 6. I think Jonas is going to absolutely break. I think she's going to break her up. Mayo hasn't got the power to keep Jonas off, and so I think she'll cut the ring off and break Mayo up. There you go. That's my opinion.
So just before we move on to the next topic, I just want to pick a couple of the undercard fights up because this is quite a good card. Yeah. Very disappointed that Aaron McKenna is ill, so his fight against Lana Sidoti has been cancelled.
Oh, I didn't know that. So
yeah, that's happened. That's happened.
I was quite looking forward to that fight.
Yeah, I thought it was the fight of the night. I've got to be honest.
I thought it was the fight that was going to go under the radar until the actual thing.
So we'll pick up the British and Commonwealth super middleweight fight. Jack Cullen against Zach Chelly. Carl, I'll come to you first. Pretty good fight, this, mate. Very, very similar level fighters. Cullen's probably had a bit more experience than Chelly. This is Chelly's big opportunity, right?
Yeah, they're both two fighters who are nowhere near world level, though. That's a bit right. So this is about their ceiling in terms of ability. So
don't mean it's not be a good fight, though, right?
Yeah, I didn't say it was a good fight. I just said they ain't world level and this is their ceiling. So there's not much between these two, is there? So I expect it to be a bit of a war. I'm not a big fan of Zach Chelly. I'm not a big fan of him. And there's holes in his game, to be honest. So I'm going to go for Jack Cullen to beat him. I think Jack's operated at slightly high level. Been found wanting when he's been up to that level, but he's operated there. So I think it's going to points, this one for me. And I'll go for Jack to pip it.
Imran, come to you next, mate.
I think I agree with Carl. I think Cullen's fought guys like Pacheco. He's fought Yildirim. He beat Yildirim. I know Yildirim's not. He's not. I know he's been in the ring with Canelo and that, but I mean he beat him, so that was an impressive win. He also beat Heffron in his last fight, and he's a decent fighter, a good fighter. So I'd have to agree. I think he's a bit more experienced, a bit more seasoned. So I'd have to say I think Cullen, but I think it's one that could go either way. I agree with Carl. I don't think either guy is. I don't think at world level they might not. I'm not sure if they can get to world level or succeed at world level. But I think agree with Andy in the sense that I think it's going to be a good matchup. But yeah, I think I favour Cullen in this one.
Imran, just before I move on to somebody else, are you a little bit surprised that Chelly's got this fight and not Mark Jeffers, considering Mark Jeffers beat him last year?
Jeffers is in Cullen's gym. That's why that can't happen.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that. My mistake.
Simpson was mandatory as well. So this is a voluntary, and then the winner has to fight Simpson.
Oh, right, okay.
Kev Marine was
as well.
Jeffers, it was Simpson.
Aren't there? They fought before as well.
Who?
Cullen and Chelly fought to a draw.
Yeah, they fought to a draw once before, didn't they? Yeah.
He beat Anthony Sims Jr., who was quite highly touted. So that was a good win for Chelly.
But I'm never sure how good he actually is. Like, I know he was highly
Sims
rated,
Jr.
but
Sims Jr.
But I wasn't really sure because he's always been really highly rated, but I'd never actually seen him fight anyone before that I'd heard of, apart from Chelly. And there probably is someone on his record that I've completely missed.
How do you see this one going?
I think Cullen's got the momentum. To be fair, so I think Cullen's going to win on points. Chelly underperformed for me.
He gets cut easy as well, which never helps him. Sean.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said pretty much. I think Cullen comes through. He's been there in the higher level fights. He's been in the more sort of high profile fights as well, if you like. So I think the experience he's gained from those fights, even though he lost most of them, will see him through to a tight points decision.
Darren, Cole's already said that he thinks that this is the ceiling for these two fighters. Yeah. At some point, I mean, this is Cullen. Is this Cullen's first defense? I think it is. I think it is, isn't it? I mean, he may fight another 3 times and become the British outright. Do you think he
will run into Callum Simpson? So
do you think he potentially moves up? Does he actually fancy himself at European level?
I was at the fight when he lost. Was it to Kevin Lee Saggio? Is it in Manchester when he got stopped?
Yeah.
And I think he was like favourite to win that night. And when I saw him, like he went down from the body shot. I don't actually think Cullen takes a shot that great. But I think like what the other guys have said. I don't think he can go too much further. But like I say, both of them, Chelly and Cullen, I think they're both sort of at the ceiling of where they're going to go. I don't think they can go much further.
Guys, can I ask a quick question? Obviously, Cullen was beaten by Cash, right? Where's Cash gone? I mean, he's completely disappeared.
He's got a European title shot.
Oh, has he?
He's been injured as well, Imran. I don't think he's come out of his injuries very well. Yeah, there was a lot of noise. What he was meant to be fighting.
Tyler Denner.
No, it was meant to fight.
Who was the American? Who was the American?
Ammo Williams.
Ammo Williams.
That was it.
That's the one.
They're on about him fighting Tyler Denny next, aren't they?
That's
been ordered against some Italian, or is it Italian or Spanish? The lad Cullen lost to.
That might be
the Italian.
That might be just a warm up, mate. To I know it sounds stupid being a warm up, but
what European?
I think well, I think the Tyler Denny fight's the one that everyone who wants to make again for him.
Long time out of the ring, though, really. You know,
according to EBU, Denny has a voluntary defense, but Felix Cash is the man voluntary.
Okay.
Right. Voluntary.
He's a voluntary. I thought he was the mandatory.
Sorry.
Board got that wrong when they put the circular out. Then.
Akan, I think you're the only person I'm not come to.
According to
Akan, what's your prediction on the fight?
For Wolverhampton, Calancelli.
I think Akan might be a little bit behind us. Yeah, Calancelli. Yeah.
Close decision for Jack Cullen.
Okay. One more then before we move on.
Never do ask me on that.
Did I not? Sorry, Jack.
Back to the Jonas Mayer.
Yep.
Can I get back to the Jonas Mayer? What will happen if Mayer wins and Jonas wins if it's a match? I mean, if Jonas wins and Mayer wins and not the rematch. I think Jonas could fight Lauren Price next.
That's a good shout.
If she beats Mayer.
I think Mayer's more likely a fighter because two counter.
Lauren Price is.
She was there on second
in line on the EBF ranking.
Yeah. I think she's doing some commentary.
Both are signed to boxers. So I think.
What happened to Clarissa Shields and Tasha Jonas? I thought that was very close not so long ago.
Wouldn't agree terms, I don't think, man.
Right. Okay.
Money, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Clarissa Shields wanted Tasha Jonas to change her name to Clarissa Shields.
But isn't Clarissa too big? Isn't Clarissa too big?
Clarissa wanted a chocolate bar named after her.
Isn't Clarissa too big though? I mean, she's massive.
She's an idiot.
No, I'd agree. She talked a lot.
I mean, she's got me blocked on Twitter, so I can't say anything.
Well, she's not that daft then.
No.
Anyway, on that note, moving on to the next topic.
Still didn't get off.
Cullen or Chelly, Jack?
Cullen, because I don't think Chelly. I think Chelly gets found out at this level.
Is that it?
Yeah. Well,
you made a big song and dance, and that's it.
I already said what I was going to say before because I think whoever wins is going to run into Callum Simpson and lose anyway. So it doesn't really. And that's not a dig at either of them. I just think Callum Simpson's that good.
Yeah, I'll save that bit for the highlights, Jack. Thanks for that. So moving on to AJ versus Ngannou. So
why is this happening?
Yeah, well, I'll do a round robin in the screen. So Jack, if you could wait for your turn for once in your lifetime, I'd really appreciate it. Coming on to Andy first. I'm going to do it simply on the screen. So Andy, give us your thoughts and your predictions.
Well, I slated Fury against Ngannou. I've got to do exactly the same for this. Otherwise, I'm going to be seen as being biased. At the end of the day, it's a big cash grab. Right? I mean, all fights that are over in Saudi are cash grabs. It is what it is. The thing is, if he's waiting to get into the mandatory positions, that's obviously not happening now. So he's got to fight somebody in the meantime. Is this a statement to Tyson Fury that if he beats Ngannou much better than Fury did, I mean, he's done it. You know, he's done it with his last opponent. Is he going to do the same thing with Ngannou? I mean, this fight will make Anthony Joshua look like $1 million. That's why they're taking this fight. It's simple as that. And apart from the fact that he's getting paid an absolute shed load of money for doing it, I'm not going to. Right. So it sounds like I'm knocking the Saudis. I am a little bit because I'm disappointed that we're losing all the fights to there. But there's one thing that you can't knock them for, and that is the fact that you've ended up with the two biggest promoters in the UK sat at the same table, and now they're agreeing, which we're going to talk about after this, a promoter versus promoter show. Potentially five fights. I've heard Eddie Hearn say it should be 10 fights, 10 fighters against 10 fighters, but we'll see. It's probably going to fall somewhere in the middle at eight fighters, I would think. But that makes for an interesting story. You know, so you can't completely knock the Saudis because they've brought those two guys to the table, and nothing else has been able to do it over the years.
Here's a question for you, Andy. Would you rather have had fights happening in the UK, but we never get fights like Fury versus AJ, or would you rather have Fury versus AJ, but it's happening in Saudi?
Well, we wouldn't be getting undisputed either if it didn't happen in Saudi.
What landscape do you prefer?
Well, I think we're just going to have to live with the fact that the biggest fights, the only way those big fights are going to happen is with Saudi money. We're just going to have to sit and deal with it. As a boxing purist, it's disappointing, but that's the way the landscape's shifting. There's not a lot we can do about it. The fights are happening, Cole, and that's what matters. We've been complaining for years now that these massive fights are not happening. The big names are not getting in with each other. The heavyweight division is stale because the belts are being held up. So let's get the undisputed out of the way. Let's see the belts get fragmented because that's what's going to happen. And then maybe we'll get some more heavyweight title world fights over in the UK again.
Okay. Akan, coming to you. Give us your thoughts and predictions.
I think AJ will make a statement here. So I think AJ will win a knockout inside the 5th round.
And obviously from what are your thoughts on the Saudi setup, Akan?
I don't like it, to be honest. And now it looks like it's not yet, not only the heavyweights could land there. Other big fights too. So that we will discuss the Matchroom and Queensbury, that deal that's gonna happen for the summer. Loads of good fighters from the UK will meet in Saudi, and for me, I don't like it. I can understand the heavyweight with all the money, but to see, for example, see the other fighters like Joe Cordina, Kakash, now in Saudi. So will we see a pay-per-view card in the UK this year?
Good question.
Very good point.
That's my question.
Good question. So important, Darren. I'm coming to you next. So same again for you. Give us your opinion and predictions.
I wasn't a big fan of Fury and Ngannou, but I think because of the way Ngannou performed against Fury, that's the intrigue with this fight. Can he perform to a similar level again? Like I say, I'm not a major fan of the fight, but it's the intrigue from how he done against Fury. But I don't think it's going to be as easy for Joshua as what some people are thinking. I think the performance against Otto Wallin flattered him a little bit because I think Wallin was terrible. I don't want to put him down or Anthony Joshua down or anything like that. But I thought it majorly flattered him. And what we like to do here is overhype. And for me, Joshua took risks in that fight that he won't do with a big puncher in front of him. And I expect Joshua to probably beat Ngannou, but I think it'll be on points. I don't see him stopping Francis Ngannou. This guy's been hit by everything in his MMA career. And I look at Anthony Joshua, I don't think he's a power puncher, but he couldn't put Jermaine Franklin away. You know, Andy Ruiz took his best shots. And Ngannou is a big guy from his previous, his MMA career. I just don't see Anthony Joshua stopping him. But I expect him to win, but I don't think it's going to be as easy. I hear some people saying, Hakan said 5 rounds. I don't think it'd be anything like that. I think it'd be AJ points.
Interesting. That's not the message you wanted to be sending out either, is it, Darren, to be honest?
Just being honest. Just being honest.
Yeah. So, Imran, coming to you next. Give us your opinions and predictions.
So, I think AJ should win. But you know what? The crazy thing is the fact that we're even debating him against an MMA fighter, and we're kind of and some people have got opinions that Ngannou might have a chance. I mean, he might be able to hurt him. I find that like that's him for me as a boxing fan, because I'm not an MMA fan. I don't really like MMA that much. I find that kind of confusing that a guy can just come into our sport and he's fighting the top guys, and we're kind of debating whether he can beat some of our best guys. I'm really confused. I don't understand how that's possible. I mean, if these guys are struggling against a guy like that, Ngannou, who hasn't really had much boxing experience, and these are world champions, I mean, that's a little worrying, isn't it? That's like, imagine someone coming from rugby going into football in the Premier League and start to I mean, do you see where I'm coming from? It's a bit like that, isn't it?
Imran, I just want to point out, James Toney went over and had one MMA fight and fought the current at the time current UFC champion. So it does happen the other way as well.
He got smashed.
I mean, he got absolutely
destroyed.
Though,
Jack, let's be right. James Toney fought, I believe it was Randy Couture.
But Couture was world champion at the time.
Yeah, but he fought him under MMA rules.
Yeah.
I mean, James Toney did it in MMA rules, and I don't think he'd ever done any grappling or...
No.
I didn't say it was a good idea.
If you listen to Randy Couture after that fight said, as soon as that bell went, he was getting put on the floor, because if I'd have stood up, I was getting knocked out.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So but I'm just saying it does happen the other way. Like, it's not like...
Yeah, not very often, though. Not very often.
But this doesn't happen often.
Imran, just going on to what you said there, and your surprise at the noise that's coming out about Ngannou. Darren touched on a really good point, and that is his toughness.
Yeah.
There's not many fighters that could come over from that sport in other weight divisions and handle their counterparts in boxing. The way that Ngannou can maybe take the shots. That's the only thing that's going to keep him in this fight, is he can take the shots. I don't think he's got a prayer, mate. I don't think he's got a prayer. Tyson Fury was maybe 30% for that fight, and maybe I'm being generous because I don't think he trained a day. I don't think he trained a day for that fight.
He looked like he was on the first day of camp in sparring.
He was dreadful, and that's made Ngannou look not really good. It's made him look fairly good. But if you actually look at the fight and you look at Ngannou's boxing style, there's nothing there, mate.
As much as what Otto Wallin may have flattered Joshua, I think Ngannou, Fury's performance flattered Ngannou.
Yeah, absolutely.
I fully believe that Anthony's going to see this as a massive opportunity to score brownie points, get one up on Tyson. And I think I think he's going to see it as a massive opportunity. And I think
as you're talking, let's get your prediction.
Well, mate, I just think Anthony's going to smash him to pieces in 4 rounds. For simple fact, I don't think Anthony's going to look to hit him with one shot. I think he's going to look to set him up and then hit him with big shots. And no matter how tough you are in one discipline, it's a totally different punch that you're going to be feeling.
Yeah.
I just, and a different skill set, to be fair.
Yeah.
I just think that Anthony's going to see this as a massive, massive opportunity to be able to, because let's be fair, if we were all in same position as AJ, we'd all be thinking same, wouldn't we? Let's get this, let's do a proper job on this kid. Because I don't think a points decision's enough. I think it's not great. I can see how you're thinking, Daz. I think, he's a tough man, but I don't know. I just think that I don't know. Joshua's got to look $1 million here. Got to put him away.
You think he's going to want to take? I say take the risk. Do you think that AJ is going to want to engage too much with a bloke that can, if he gets clipped himself?
I don't think he needs to. I don't think he needs to, mate, because Ngannou seemed to sort of like sit back and. Sort of. I think Anthony throws a solid double jab, right and left hook, because he can punch in combination. If he does that, and then listen, you don't have to take a full half a step back. I think I won't say Ngannou's got lightning fast hands either.
The thing is, Daz, we can't have MMA fighters coming over to boxing, can we? And arguably running Tyson Fury close, if not beating him, let's be honest. And then jumping with AJ and doing a job on AJ as well. It just
I mean, I'll tell you what, mate. He's taking this fight. Anthony's put a fucking lot of pressure on himself.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of pressure on himself. And I tell you,
this has been chosen for a reason. This fight's been chosen for a reason.
Listen, Eddie Ames chose it. Money.
Like some Fury mind games.
Yeah, the performance of Fury 100%. Against him. Yeah. You know what? I tell you what, if it goes to plan for AJ and obviously Eddie Hearn, this could be a painful night for Francis.
Yeah. So, Sean, there's been lots of noise over the last couple of weeks. Firstly, from AJ about why he chose Ben Davison. He said that the other coaches that he's been with have tried to change his style. They've tried to make him box on the back foot. They've tried to make him more defensive. And he also said Ben Davison basically turned around and said, "You're a massive lump. You should be knocking people out." And that's obviously what AJ has been known for in the past. And what looks like the start of that in his last fight looked like he was trying to get back to that style. I think Ngannou's made for him to look to be the aggressor in the fight. Ben Davison's come out and said very similar things as well. So there's a lot of noise being said publicly. They can't now back away from that and become a defensive unit again, can they?
Oh no, and I don't think they will. I think the link up with Ben Davison is perfect for Anthony Joshua, and he needed that, someone just to get in his mind and saying, this is what you're good at, so let's get back to it. Because let's be honest, he was never the boxer like Klitschko turned into, which I think what in his mind he was trying to be, because people perceived him as a bit chinny. But in terms of this fight, I think he'll run through Ngannou, to be honest. I think he'll hurt him to the body, and I think that's how he's going to stop him. And in terms of what you were saying earlier about this fight, let's be honest, like it or not, once Wilder lost to Parker, this was the next biggest fight for AJ. And I know we might not like to admit that, but that's just how it is. So I have no problems with this fight per se. And yeah, I think Joshua will stop him, and then hopefully all those will lead to him into Fury.
Jack, just before I come to you, I want to pick up a comment at the sidebar. Humanity, welcome to the show, mate. Thanks for your comment. He's put, you guys have no respect for MMA strikers. You're going to find out the hard way. I think you've already explained the difference between a striker and a boxer. It's a completely different sport. It's a completely different skill set. They strike completely differently to a boxers. That's what we're trying to say. It's a different sport. We're not disrespecting MMA at all. If AJ was to go into MMA and fight Ngannou under MMA rules, he'd get absolutely destroyed, and so would Tyson Fury.
Here's a point. If Fury had fought Ngannou in MMA rules, if Joshua fought Ngannou in MMA rules, do you for 1 minute think that Ngannou wouldn't have took either of them to the floor within first 10 seconds?
Of course.
That's what he'd have done. So, I think that, people like Francis, and he seems a nice guy, to be fair.
Absolutely, yeah.
And his story's amazing.
Yeah.
But, I think obviously it's not about disrespecting it. It's about knowing these levels of striking. And, when you're training to strike with your fists and your fists only for 20 years, you are going to be a bit better on it than someone who just does that and then does jiu-jitsu and then does grappling and then, wrestling. These guys are committing full time to it. And
correct me if I'm wrong, Gaz. I'm not a massive MMA fan. I do watch it every now. I do watch it. I do watch it every now and again. So correct me if I'm wrong. When people are striking in MMA, they're striking with the mindset of I'm striking to be able to get my opponent into a position to be able to take him down.
Well, I wouldn't say it's entirely that. I'd say a lot of it is when they seem to use. There is some that are just strikers. Let's be fair, with the fists and kicks. But maybe one sets up the other in a lot of minds. If some might kick to maybe set up a punch, which I've not seen very often, but some might also touch with a jab to set up a kick. Touch to set up a takedown. You know what I mean? It's not as they've got a lot more weapons in their arsenal at their disposal to use.
Well, it's multidisciplinary, isn't it? That's why. It
is, mate. Yeah, it is. And listen, I'm a big MMA fan, mate. I like it. I watch it, but you can't put them in the same skill set as strikers as a especially an elite boxer.
Also, the way they strike is different as well. Like, and I'm only going off. Obviously, Ngannou's probably slightly above this because he probably does have a degree of boxing knowledge and stuff. But when you get, I don't know if any of you have seen it, where you get novice pros who've come from a MMA background where they've had pro MMA fights or amateur ones or whatever. Sometimes they go over their own foot when they're throwing shots in boxing, in a boxing gym. It's just because when they do it in MMA, like Daz says, they're trying to set up a kick. So quite often they'll go over their own front foot when they're throwing the shot. Which, if you do that in a boxing context, you're going to get hit. You're going to get caught, and you're going to be off balance.
And they're very unorthodox, aren't they, in terms of shape and in terms of angles that they come from, throwing shots.
I honestly think that was something that caused Fury problems, was how unorthodox it was.
I think Jack, sorry to interrupt you, but I think the only thing that caused Fury problems was Fury's attitude towards.
Well, I know. I think Fury didn't bother training as well, which also caused Fury problems.
Listen, let's not sugarcoat it. Tyson Fury, what he produced against Wilder, and things like that. You know, come on, you can't.
Oh yeah, it would have.
I'm not having for 1 minute. I'm not having for 1 minute that in boxing and Ngannou with them gloves on, 10-ounce gloves, it's anywhere near as hard as Deontay Wilder. I'm not having it.
No, he doesn't. I'm not sure there's anyone in the pro game that does at the moment, or if there is, then I don't know who they are.
It's just an opportunity for Anthony to get one up on.
It's a keep busy fight, isn't it?
Go on then, Jack. Give us your prediction.
I think Joshua breaks him down, beats him up, and stops him in the 10th round. And I think the reason he stops him as late as that is because he'll just break him down. I don't think he'll go and risk. I don't think he'll risk the wild getting caught by the wild swings. I think he'll just basically systematically take him apart and stop him with a body shot.
I'm going 7, round 7 for me.
Okay, I think that's everyone's given their little bit on this.
I'm glad no one said they thought Ngannou was going to win, because I would have been very confused by that.
That's good. Andy, I'll let you lead on this one.
Yeah, this goes back to the question that Carl asked me earlier on. This wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for Saudi money. If it wasn't for Saudi getting Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren on the same page.
What's the
don't be fooled by this, guys. They're not going to be best mates. They're never going to be best mates. They're not going to go down the pub and have a pint together. But at the end of the day, they've got them to a point where they can at least sit in the same room, have a conversation. They've clearly spoken about the possibility of this happening before it was announced. Like I said earlier on, I don't think it'll be 5. I think it'll be 8 versus 8. It's going to be bigger than 5. What concerns me though, what concerns me is if this was going to be 5 or 8 world championship fights, great. What concerns me is Eddie Hearn said earlier in the week that this is going to be all levels. It's going to be world titles. It's going to be British titles. It's going to be domestics. That concerns me because that's taking fights that should be in the UK on big shows in the UK away, and it's a little bit alarm bells ringing for me there that then they're taking these fights over to Saudi now. Where does it stop? I don't think
this will happen all the time though.
Maybe not, Jack. Maybe not. But if it's really successful, why wouldn't it? I could see another.
Because to take
situation where
because to take a British title there, the board have to approve it, and I just think
I know they do. I know they do. But the board are going to Jack. If the board are going to get paid enough money, they're going to agree it.
Not convinced.
It's as simple as that. Because money talks. Money talks. End of the story. What concerns me, Jack, is if this is really successful, what's stopping them doing it every year? What's stopping them doing it twice a year, 3 times a year? As much as the Saudis want it to happen. That's my worry.
I think it'll be an annual thing. I do. I honestly do. I don't think they're going more. They won't go any more than that because it waters it down, don't it?
Do you know what though, lads? Do you know what though? What fights? You know what I mean? Like what fights would we want to see?
Well, he's already reeled a few off, hasn't he? He's talking about Nick Ball.
I've not seen it. I've not seen it, to be honest.
He's talking about a couple that Hearn trotted out was Smith Yard, Nick Ball versus Raymond Ford.
Yeah.
And he's talking about possibly he didn't mention. He's talking about Craig Richards going out, but he didn't talk about who against.
Yeah.
And he's also mentioning possible Conor Benn because remember it'll be insider.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's board sanctioned, so they wouldn't.
There's a way around it, Jack. Let's not pretend if there's not enough green on the table, they can make it disappear.
What about, what fights would you want to see? Any of you guys, to be fair?
I mean, that Callum Smith yard's a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
What about you, Sean? What would you like to see?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it too much, to be honest. Yeah, but Smith Yard's the one that stands out. I guess going back to your point, I don't know if you remember, maybe it was 18 months ago, there was talk of the Saudis purchasing Wembley Stadium. So I think if that ever comes back on the cards, they could actually bring the shows to the UK because they got invested interest in that too.
Just let me just pick this comment up in the sidebar, Carl.
Yeah.
Humanity's come back, so he's saying MMA fighters shouldn't be competing with boxers at the highest level is disrespectful. End of the day, it's results and performances is what matters. Francis will win. Just watch.
At what point did we ever say they shouldn't be?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think he's like a table tennis player going in to play Djokovic at Wimbledon. Yeah. That's a comparison I'll make.
I just want to say we're not being disrespectful, Q, at all. We're just saying it's two complete different disciplines. And like I've already said to you, if AJ was to go into an MMA fight under MMA rules with MMA gloves against Ngannou, he gets absolutely battered. And I'm sure you agree with that. So that if you was to say that, then you're being disrespectful to AJ and boxing. If we look at it from your point of view, it's not being disrespectful. It's a matter of opinion about two completely different sports, two completely different disciplines. Where at the very highest level, you need to be the best of your sport. Now, Ngannou coming into the sport is not the best in the sport. It's as simple as that.
More to the point for you, why is it that Ngannou's left UFC to come over to boxing for what he calls a good payday? So maybe UFC have got something to look at themselves. That's what I put to Dan Harder.
I mean, are we forgetting that Conor McGregor, one of the best strikers in MMA, came over and got toyed with off Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
You know, we soon forget that, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, okay. We all seem to forget that, and I know Mayweather's Mayweather, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
It was Adrian Mayweather though, Jack, and he still played with him.
Oh, true. That's true.
End of the day,
I was going to say an inactive Mayweather as well, actually.
End of the day, Fury, you know,
he's done us no favours, Dan, has there?
No, he's disrespected the sport, mate.
He could have put this to bed.
Disrespected the sport.
I think what it's done is it's given lovers of MMA a higher belief that Ngannou's a better boxer than he actually is. I think that's what it's done.
Also,
listen, I'll be the first person to hold my hands up if he comes out and knocks AJ Spark out. I'll be the first person to hold my hands up and go, great, give him a couple more fights and give him a world title shot. I just don't believe that happens.
Can we just take a moment to realise that number 10 in the WBC is an 0-1 fighter as well?
Well, that's WBC.
Shambolic from the WBC.
Why? And I mean, I'm not going to slag them off because I might need them for something later. But what?
I mean, let me just pick this up. Connor's a joke. Don't compare him. I mean,
he wasn't at the time. He wasn't at the time, though, Hugh.
Conor McGregor at the time was probably one of the apart from
he still has the highest gross in UFC history.
Apart from Max Holloway, probably the best striker in MMA.
That's right, Naz. If you'd a joke, you wouldn't have got the fight.
No, I mean, he got played with. Listen, I respect all sports. I'm a big fan of MMA. But come on.
Although, one thing I will give McGregor his credit for, what a build-up to the fight, right? What a build-up.
That's what we're about, weren't it? That's what we're about. Just money generating again. That's it. You know, end of the day.
Let's be honest, Floyd also helped sell that fight.
Of course he did.
I mean, guys.
There's two great guys to sell the fight.
Yeah,
I'll say this.
Can we go back onto Matchroom and Queensbury because this is like.
Yeah, just before we do, I'll say this. I don't believe that sport should mix. I think boxing should be boxing, MMA should be MMA. There shouldn't be crossovers because we get this sort of situation. I mean, these fights are being made because of the names rather than rather than the good matchup. It's Francis Ngannou is massive in MMA, and that's why he's come over. He's come over, like Cole said, to make massive paydays because he wasn't getting paid enough. He wasn't getting paid enough in the UFC. That's simple. That's all it comes down to. Now, the Saudis, being the Saudis, they've made this fight because they're the only ones that can. There's no way that Francis Ngannou would be getting the money he's getting on a massive card in the UK because the promoters just wouldn't pay it because it doesn't make the money.
I'll go as far as to say and all that this is Francis Ngannou's last fight as a boxer because he's going to get torn. He's going to get torn to pieces.
And where does he go after that?
He's going to get torn to pieces.
You all right, Jack? Need some water?
I don't disagree. I'm just dying.
I'm not so sure it's going to be as easy as what people think. I don't.
I know, Daz. Controversial.
Daz, he'll be in there.
Yeah, Daz is working with Ngannou. That's what we don't know.
I can see your point.
The thing is, right, against the world heavyweight champion, I know Fury weren't on his game, but the guy didn't just go in a box. He went orthodox. He went southpaw. He mixed it up. It wasn't just for me, I'm not saying Fury didn't help his performance the way like he was so crap, basically. I think he's a better boxer than what people are giving him credit for what he's shown so far.
See,
he mixed it up a bit.
I think that Fury made him look better than he was.
I do.
But I will give him one bit of credit. I thought he was quite calm. I expected him to be a bit, a bit rushed and that. But
very calm.
That was because Fury never put it on him, did it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but I don't think Fury put it on him because I think Fury thought, here we go. After the first round, he probably thought he's probably.
Whereas I expect AJ to be a bit like the Crunk Gym, seek and destroy. I think
that's what we're going to get. I think
maybe Fury respected his power. Maybe he respected it and thought, I don't want to. After the Wilder fight,
we don't know, mate, do we? We don't know, do we? It could have been a fact of that. It could have been a fact that Fury thought, you know what? I ain't trained for this.
But AJ needs to do boxing a favour and just absolutely go through this guy.
Yeah,
I think even if he, unanimous decisions in Ghana. I know you said
not enough. Daz, it's not enough. He's got to stop this guy.
I agree, but I think he'd still feel Joshua like he's got the upper hand on Fury because Fury was so close.
Yeah,
I think he'd feel like he's still got the upper hand.
Yeah,
guys, just one more comment. Hugh's proper on it.
He's on a wind up. This year is.
Well, he's allowed his opinions though, Carl. So let's read them out. He's put one average performance, and everyone's trashing Fury. Well, the reason we're doing that, Hugh, it was way below average. It was dreadful, in fact. The reason we're doing it is because quite clearly that wasn't the Tyson Fury that went in 3 times against the biggest puncher in boxing history, or one of them.
Andy, hold on a minute. So an average performance. So you're admitting then that Fury average and made Francis look better than he is.
And we're not trashing him. We're just saying that was a bang average performance. Well, I still think he goes in and beats Usyk.
It weren't that good. It weren't. But
Hugh, let me just say this right. You're saying Fury's still head and shoulders above everybody. He is when he's on his game. If he'd have gone in against Usyk and performed like that, he would have got absolutely hammered.
He wouldn't.
He would have.
No. I'm just making a point. Of course, he's not.
Yeah.
He's gonna train properly for 12 weeks, and he's gonna be sharp as a nail. But at the end of the day, he wasn't sharp as a nail because he thought it was an easy fight. That's why it was as difficult as it was, and then Ngannou looked as good as he did.
It's the worst thing that could have happened for Usyk. That fight performance was. It's the worst thing that could have happened.
I tell you what fills me with confidence for Fury for this fight. We're not seeing anything from him.
No.
He's not stupid. He's not going to post anything.
No, listen, there's no social media. There's nothing.
He's knuckling down.
Absolutely nothing. He's working his arse off. and that is, I tell you what, don't be surprised if we don't see the best Tyson Fury yet. He's gonna maul Usyk. He's gonna. Maul
he needs to be the best Tyson Fury does.
Yeah, he will be, mate. That's why we're not seeing him. We're not seeing anything of him.
He needs to be, otherwise it's a difficult fight.
If he is the best he's been, Usyk's in big trouble.
Massively.
Save that for another show.
Yeah.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
That in the build up
directing us now as well.
Well then, Matchroom and Queensbury. What fights?
I
mean, is any female fights anyone would like to see from them?
They're not quoting any yet, are they? Because it's likely to land in Saudi Arabia. I'm not saying it won't happen because of that reason.
Probably not.
I just thought of one I'd like to see.
Can you imagine Emily Bridges weighing in at Saudi?
No, please. I'll go out to Saudi just for a laugh.
Ed Hearn stated 5 fights, including Nicholson Chapman. So
Raven Chapman.
I'd like to see Raven Chapman.
I'd watch that fight.
Yeah,
there's got to be the amount of fights they're going to do for this show. It's got to be an odd number because there's got to be a winner.
Yeah.
So they've got to do 5, 7.
Mathematician as well, Daz.
What's that?
I didn't know you was a mathematician as well, fella.
Yeah.
That blows my 8 fights out the window, then, don't it?
Definitely.
To be honest, though, I think we will only see certain females on the card if we do, obviously for obvious reasons at weigh-ins, maybe whether it's right or wrong.
I think there'll be 7 fights. I'll put that out there now. I think they would settle on 7.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want His Excellency getting a tent effect, do we?
No.
I'll tell you what I think's a nice. I'll tell you what I think's a nice fight as a boxing fan. If they'd done that card, I think Peter McGrail versus Dennis McCann would be a good fight.
Yeah, good shot. That
But McGrail's coming off a loss.
Would Warren risk McCann?
What's that? Sorry.
Would Frank Warren risk Dennis McCann?
Sorry, it cut off then. What was that?
Yeah, would do you think Frank Warren would risk Dennis McCann there though?
Well, we'll see how he gets on in his next fight against Brad Strand. And
is a jewel in his crown at the one of the jewels in his crown at the minute, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I actually really like Peter McGrail. I mean, he got caught his last fight, and I presume he's going to get some kind of rematch or something. But I think he's a really, really nice boxer.
Yeah,
Peter McGrail. He didn't get caught though, did he? Wow.
Oh God, yeah, big time.
That was spectacular.
That can happen to anybody, though.
Yeah, it can. Yeah.
Yeah,
it can happen to anyone. Right?
Listen, that could be the making of him. He might.
Yeah, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something slightly. Sorry.
Go on then,
Go on, Jack.
I'm going to say. I'm going to say something slightly controversial. As a pro, I actually think Joe is better than Peter in terms of McGrail's, and I've worked with. And I've actually worked with both fighters matching, and I genuinely think Joe will be the better one.
I'll have a coffee on it with you.
Yeah, I'll take that bet.
Yeah, I think Peter does more.
Do you think we'll see any fights like Moses Atoma versus Johnny Fisher or anything like that?
I was going to bring that one up. I think that's a great fight.
I think that might actually happen. You know,
that's been.
And it's at the right time. It's the right time for Atoma to be fighting someone like Fisher.
If Atoma wins the English title, I think we'll definitely see that.
I think Moses destroys Johnny Fisher. I do.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it's a step up from what Atoma's fought so far.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good Johnny Fisher is, to be honest. I don't think we know how good he is.
I can't work out how good he is, to be honest.
Well, let's have it right. It was a bit of a pet project for Eddie and wasn't it? You know, it was a good ticket seller.
To begin with.
I think the spending out of stuff though, where he thought actually he's got a bit of talent. This kid.
Yeah, I think he's proving quite a bit of a surprise package for Eddie.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's proving to be better than Eddie probably thought he would be.
Yeah.
So
this is a bit of a left field one, but I quite like it. I think Ellis Zorro is still with Warren, isn't he?
Oh, don't put him in with anyone decent.
No, I want to put him in with Jordan Thompson.
Who? Oh,
That
mate.
just lost
Do you
to-
not like Ellie Sorrow or something?
Because
Does he owe you money, Jack? Does he owe you money?
Basically, well, to be
Everyone
fair,
owes Jack
he
money.
did pull out of the small hall show when I was matching him, but no,
Mate,
that's not
let's
why.
be fair, mate. Let's be fair, right? Listen, Opataya pretty much destroyed both. Yeah, he destroyed Zorro.
Yeah,
quicker.
that was my point. He
But
destroyed
Jordan
both.
Thompson, mate. Yeah, but Jordan Thompson, he's still better than Zorro, mate.
But I'd still want to see it.
I'll tell you what, I'd be
like Ellie Zorro.
I'll tell you what, I'd be
Pro Bellum, I had to match him, and he was a nightmare. So that's why. Not
Go on,
not
Darren.
personally, just getting an opponent for him.
I was going to say, I know he's stepping up, but I think a firefight would be Lee Wood versus Nick Ball.
yeah, Nick Ball's not on Lee Wood's level.
I mean,
But
that
I
would be a
think
very good fight, but I feel like it wouldn't last very long.
Come on, lads. We're talking about serious fights now.
I said to watch, I meant to watch, by the way. I do think Lee Wood wins that. But
Nick Ball's got a lot to learn yet. He proved that in his last fight. Yeah. He was struggling for ideas. I'll be completely honest here, and you can call me as biased as you want. Lee Wood toys with him and knocks him out whenever he wants to.
I think you'd have to show him a bit of respect, mate.
I think he'd have to show his power respect.
No,
I think you'd have to show him respect all over. You know.
Well, I'm not saying he don't. I'm not saying he. I'm not saying he wouldn't show him respect. Nick Ball,
he'd break him.
He would, yeah, because Nick Ball is too small. He launches in with those big overhands. Yeah. Lee just takes a step back.
Yeah. How do you think he gets on with Vargas? Nick Ball.
He's got a chance, but
yeah,
I think Vargas are going to beat him.
Vargas is quite long into. You know,
that's an awkward fight.
That's Nick Ball's only problem is he's very strong, but he's short and he's stocky for the weight, and he needs to find a way of getting inside fighters. And at the minute, his only way of doing it is to launch himself in, and half the time he's off balance because of it.
And
as soon as you start
doing that.
Exactly, Jack. As soon as you start stepping up weights, the better fighters will pick him off.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Lee would get him, because he'll go launching in and Lee would Lee can punch, so that's. But I don't think we'd ever get that fight anyway. So I don't think Frank Warren's gonna risk that.
Well, you're not gonna get it anyway because Lee's moved up.
Well, true. Lee's at Super Brothers.
Coming up to an hour and a half, Andy. So do you want to close us out, guys? Thank you everyone for joining. Brilliant show as ever. Same time next week. Andy, do you want to take us out, fella?
Yeah, thanks to everybody for joining the show. I think it's the most we've had on the show consistently all the way through, which is brilliant. Thanks to everyone in the sidebar. Hugh, thanks for your comments, mate. Everybody's welcome with their own opinions on this show.
You talk shit, you're welcome.
Don't listen to him, Hugh. Come back next week, mate. Your opinions are more than welcome, mate. Thanks to everyone in the sidebar that's dropped in comments. We do this show every single week, 7:00. Come and join us next week.